Welcome to Sorting Through Life with Colleen Waterston on AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota. This is Sorting Through Life, brought to you by Space Organizing, a Twin Cities-based home organizing business. And I am your host, Colleen Waterston, and also owner and lead organizer at Space by Space. So today, our episode is very special as we have my three right hands. So that I think makes
That's a lot of
me, if I
hands.
have a right and a left hand from both of you, that makes me an official octopus.
Okay.
Love this. Just put that together right now.
I get to be the left hand, though.
Okay. Because I always say Alicia's my right.
I'm
And-
left-handed, so.
Okay, so
it works
Tiffany's the
out.
left hand. So Tiffany has been here before. We've got Tiffany, our branding, business development, marketing gal. We've got Alicia, my right hand, who comes to pretty much every job that we go to. And since I think month 3 of this business. And we have Cortney, our brand new, literally first day on the job, is coming in to help make all of our lives better by following up after what we do and helping keep this ship sailing. And so, Cortney, I think, we have this radio show, and I said, Cortney, why don't you come along to the radio show and see what that's about? And then as I got to think about it, I said, why don't I put you in? And I just think it's a very true testament that she's going to be a great member of the team because she's like, all right. And so here we are. So the format of today, we are going to turn the table on me. We've done this before with Alicia asking questions, but the three of them are going to take us on a little past present journey. And you lovely listeners are getting in on it at the same time as I am because I have no idea what's being asked of me. And we're just going to let it go from there. So, Cortney,
I guess I'll start.
it's your moment to shine.
She got off the bench really quick.
Yes.
I'm a star, I guess.
Yes. Well, TBD.
We'll check my name after this.
Yeah.
I guess the first question I'll ask is, what was the biggest challenge you faced when opening your business?
Ooh. I would say, okay, when I first opened my business, I had come from working for somebody else and we were a 3-person team. So when I started it, I was by myself and I took on a client that kind of fell in my lap. And then the next clients came from working with family and getting referrals, and then family referred people. And I think in the very beginning, doing it alone for me was a challenge because everything is on you. And there's a lot of people who do like that and do solopreneur and solo organizing businesses. I do think that when you're solo on the clock, you're only focused on what you're doing. So it's of high value, the quality, there's no need to micromanage or even manage any other thing. It's just I'm going to do my best with the time that I have. But no one is there to pick up a trash bag. No one's there to install a shelf. No one's there to lighten your load. And so doing it on my own taught me a lot, but it was pretty early in a couple months that I was like, I need help. And I did a esthetician's office, like the cabinets in my estheticians. And it was in exchange for a facial. And my facialist, put it on TikTok, and that connected to Alicia. So Alicia's boyfriend saw it and then was like, oh, Alicia's been wanting to organize. And so then my SD just gave me Alicia's info. Very like, if you want to reach out to her, here it is.
Are you saying my SD?
Yeah.
Is this what we call
so
this?
her and I
Okay.
had gone to school to get our esthetician license, and then she had posted it online, and my boyfriend was like, hey, like you just mentioned wanting to do home organizing, like
Oh,
you
wow.
should hit up Julia. And I was like, oh my gosh, no way. And so contacted her and met with Colleen, and now here we are.
Yeah. We got, and she says SD.
Yeah.
SD school. So
I'm like SD/home organizer. Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
Homog. We should come up with
Homog.
something. So we got together at like the Jerry's by my house, had a Starbucks and just chatted. And I said, kind of like what I do with newbies, I say, I'll put you on. Sometimes like I don't charge the client for a first, I'm like, I make sure that they're good. And we've never, we've been working with each other ever since. And so that was a game changer. But specifically, I think what we do for clients is bring in a team, because it's so hard to do all the things that we're asked to do as adults and humans these days in this fast-paced world where so much is coming in and out of a house, where kids, if you have kids, best of luck ever staying organized because I think they bring 100 items in a day. And so we get to be that team to our clients. Like when they're feeling that sense of being alone and just how am I ever going to finish this? And even if it's just taking a few drawers on in an afternoon that they have available, it can be hard when you're doing it all on your own. So I think that the team model that we have is kind of what we offer to our clients as well.
Okay. What has been your proudest moment as a business owner?
Oh,
There's
proudest
there's probably
moment.
quite a few.
Yeah. What do you think has been my proudest moment, Alicia?
Um, I would say, I guess it kind of goes into like how I've seen you kind of grow as a business owner, but more so not necessarily always taking on like the emotional aspect of the job and being able to kind of separate that and then just sticking to the job and doing what needs to be done and being able to leave it at that kind of thing, if that makes sense.
Yeah, but feel free to go into it because I do think that that's an interesting thing that
Mhm.
happens for organizers. So, we go into people's messes. I always say, the drawer, the room, the closet that they hope their
No one
friends don't
sees.
see
Mhm.
is what they show us and what we're in. So, and early on, I was at a conference and they said, you can't care more about your client's life than they do. And that
Mhm.
hit, and
Yeah.
I think has been something I've shared many times since because you see this potential, you come in to bring someone to closer to their highest potential, and a lot of times every time we get in our own way in life. And so we come in to help people get out of their own way, but often the stuff is the easiest way to get ourselves in our own way. We think if we take on this craft, it'll bring better stuff to our life, but then we never finish the craft. If we take
Mhm.
on this task on behalf of our kids, it'll make us better parents, but then we don't manage the task well and it overwhelms us. We take on things, we take on stuff, and then that stuff is a constant reminder of what we're not capable of completing, of, how much we start not finish. And so we get to come in and be kind of like these pragmatic detectives of what's getting in the way of somebody's life.
Mhm.
And then we get to come and kind of do our best to excavate that out and leave behind what what
Mhm.
is helpful. And so it is if you're and most people who are organizers are pretty empathetic, helpful. They want the best for people
Mhm.
across the board. I love being an organizer and in the company of other organizers. If someone's a professional organizer, it's kind of how I felt about my family's business as funeral directors. Like people would say, "Oh, that's so creepy." I'm like, "Have you met a funeral director? They're some of the most compassionate people you've ever met." They're helping a family through the worst day of their life, a
Mhm.
dynamic and everything that's going on. So I was always surrounded by these really empathetic people with the funeral industry. And now our industry of professional organizers, I think, is just full of empathy.
Well, you have to. Like, you're getting so closely intimate with a client in a very short amount of time.
Mhm.
We often hear things that probably only get said to a therapist and might not even
Mhm.
get said to a therapist because a therapist is not in your home seeing everything. You're only doing your best to describe your life to them from the comfort of a couch, but
Mhm.
when you're in it and you're coming up against people's triggers, it is the hugs that I've had with clients have been some of the deepest hugs, some of the
Mhm.
longest hugs. Um, just our client the other day said, like, "I need one of these every day," and it's like, "I'm so sorry that I can't be here to do that for you, but I'll give you a long one now to ride out a little bit longer." But I do think when we first started,
Mhm.
and this was a challenge, um, I would always apologize at the end of the day for where we didn't get, instead of saying, "Here's where we got," with pride,
Mhm.
with, "Look at what we got done for you today." And now I call people out when they say sorry because I think especially as women, we apologize too much for things that aren't. I have a very dear friend who's one of the kindest people I know, and she's always saying sorry. And I said, You don't have ill intent, like that's not in you. So stop apologizing, like you you don't need to be sorry about this, but we do that. I think we take on this feeling of I should say sorry. I should feel ashamed. I'm so sorry that it got this way. I'm sorry
Mhm.
for, and it's like you're doing your best and I want to honor that, but I'm also doing my best and I'm going to honor that. And I'm doing a great job and Alicia's doing a great job and whoever else comes in on this business's behalf is doing a great job. And so in the beginning it used to be, "Oh, shoot, we still have this left, and,
Mhm.
we'll get back to this. Okay, oh, sorry about this." And it's like, I'd leave stressed
Yeah.
instead of leaving proud of, "We got a lot done for you today."
Mhm.
And also, I've started to get a little bit more confident in, if you couldn't get this done in 5 years, it's a little unrealistic that we can get it done in 5 hours.
Yeah.
So, I'm
Mhm.
gonna be a little bit more honest with ourselves
Mhm.
and a client about how long something's gonna take,
Yeah.
and the consult can lead. We were in a kitchen recently that ended up being 3 days, and I had thought it would take 2, but maybe more, and it took 3 very solid days because as we were in there, the amount that was coming out, and then we
Mhm.
found a whole new set of cabinets that were related to the kitchen, but we didn't even know about,
Yeah.
and they were under the island, and so the client fully understood because she would come down and be like, "Do you guys even take breaks? Like, this is amazing what you got done." She was sending pictures to her friends saying, "I'm telling them, look at what I didn't do today." Like, look what she got done in her home that she didn't have to do. So, and I think that that increased confidence
Mhm.
has changed the dynamic with clients.
Yeah, I agree. Mhm. Yeah.
I've also done a lot of personal work over the last few years, and I am very confident now. I like myself a lot, and I have been insecure and not liked myself a lot of life, and it is so much more fun to like yourself and to be confident, and so I tell people that regularly, and I want that for other people because, we're always talking about how you only get one life, you only get one shot at this life. And so you might as well feel good about yourself while you're here and enjoy your life and get to know yourself and delight in being you and in keeping the home you keep and the relationships that you keep. So I think I want the best life possible for myself, for the people around me, and for our clients just
Mhm.
as much as my best friends.
Yeah.
Um, what are some mistakes that you've learned from the most? Or maybe not the word mistakes, but what have you learned from the most?
I would get into that, not mistake,
Yeah,
but
not
just
mistakes because it
so
helped you learn.
Yeah.
ADHD is something that we talk about a lot in the world these days. And there are a lot of people who are getting diagnosed or identifying with the symptoms and the description and being able to say, I have that, and that's the way my brain functions. And one of the key characteristics of ADHD is time blindness or having an ambition with what time can accomplish. And so understanding what can actually get accomplished in a day, in a session, in an hour, and a lot can get accomplished.
Mhm.
And I constantly say human hours. Like we might have 1 hour left, but if there's 3 of us, that's 3 human hours. So we actually have a ton of time left, but we have to use it well. I would say I've gotten a ton better at time management.
Yeah,
Okay.
I would agree.
Are there mistakes? Did I make mistakes before?
Ooh, that's a trick
Dun
question.
dun
I wouldn't
dun.
say mistakes,
How
but
much do
I
you like your
agree with
job?
you. I would agree with you on the time blindness though, because I remember first starting out and it'd be getting towards like the end of the day, and you'd be like, okay, here, like let's unpack this area and like this space. And I'd be like, okay, we do only have like an hour and a half left. Should we be like doing this? And just doing it and then kind of scrambling towards the end of trying to finish it up. And yeah, I would agree it's gotten a lot better where you're not wanting to necessarily leave a space completely like unpacked and everything
Mhm.
pulled out for the next day, and more so just saying like, okay, well, we didn't get to this today, but we'll get to it tomorrow
This
kind
is
of
where we
thing.
start.
Yep. Mhm.
I was at a client recently and it was just a 2-hour session, a legacy lifting client. And there was we had gotten through quite a bit and then we still had about 15 minutes and she was looking around and a little like, I don't know what can be done in 15 minutes. I don't know, like, and what we accomplished was substantial. We got through a few boxes and got stuff to go out the door and stuff to stay and had had thoroughly tackled what we started. But I said, should we just start? Should we just stop? Should we just do 1.75 hours instead of 2? And she was like, yeah, that sounds great. No problem. So I just packed up, left, went and got the donations done sooner than I had planned, and got to my workout with a little bit of time to spare, and that was fine. So knowing also to say, what if we just put a pin in it? We can just stop today. We'll get back to this. Okay, you got it. You got a quick one, or should we call it?
I feel like it could be quick.
Okay.
What's one of the coolest / best transformations you've seen within a home?
Ooh,
That's a good one.
yeah.
I was just curious because
Yeah. Quick.
quick.
Day one. She doesn't know how long I can talk. We can tell her all she. Let's see here. What's your favorite transformation?
Um,
I love a whole home.
yeah.
I love when we get, and I think my brain is especially designed to take a ton and make the best of something, like
Mhm.
think in the systems way. I have an undergraduate degree in psychology, specifically organizational psychology, which is about dynamics on a team, not organizing. But I'm able, and I've studied like big global issues and kind of broken things down over the years, and can take something big and sticky and try to find something tangible within it to move it forward. So I think that some of that past me and the way that my brain has been like studied, when I go into someone's house, I am, or home, apartment, condo, anywhere we go, it's like I'm seeing all of it, not just what they think they've hired us for.
Mhm.
Because often, if they think they've hired us for one space, it's like, oh no. Like the reason that this is problematic is because the closet across the hall from this space is problematic, and because you've put things that belong downstairs up here. So now I need to see downstairs, because if downstairs not orderly, that's why you're not bringing it there, because it's just going to go to the abyss downstairs, and so it stays up here because that's easier than going into the crawl space or
Mhm.
into that storage unit that doesn't resemble a storage unit. So it's like sometimes it's like, trust me, you need to do 3 spaces to tackle that one space, because otherwise you're going to have me back, or it won't stay. So I'm pretty like, when I worked for someone else, we would often just keep our eye on the one space, and then we'd go back like a couple months later and do a different space. And I remember her saying, like, don't look in the garage, which is where we had been. And I'm like, that's I didn't like that, and when we
Mhm.
go, like, when we've done a touch up after a couple years or something, like we were
Mhm.
just in our client Natalie's house last week, and we had done her entire house almost a year before. And then it only took a day to really touch up
Yeah.
quite a bit of space, and it was a very casual day. It was a
Mhm.
very, we moved at a pace that felt good. It wasn't, you know, no talking because we have so much to do. It was able to be a lot lighter feeling.
Mhm.
And so I think that when clients recognize that the best case scenario is a little more than they thought they needed, and trust us, that's when the real magic happens.
Yeah.
All right, I think you crushed it.
Really?
I think you crushed it, Courtney.
Okay.
All right, well, let's take a little break, and we'll be right back, and then it's up for Tiffany's turn. This is Sorting Through Life with Colleen Waterston and this great team of mine. Welcome back. Welcome back to Sorting Through Life here on AM 950. This is Colleen Waterston, host of Sorting Through Life, brought to you by Space Organizing, our home organizing business. And today I'm surrounded by 3 very lovely individuals, Tiffany, Cortney, and Alicia, who all we're kind of having a past, present, future episode, and we have like the OG right hand, the next left hand, and then the extended hands of all. So we've got the octopus is fully formed now with our 8 hands of tackling space by space for our clients. So Tiffany, you're telling me this is a rapid fire. So the girls they've all prepared questions for me, and I do not know any of them, which is fun.
Yeah, so we had all kind of discussed what we were going to talk about on here, and then we found out afterwards that oh, maybe we'll do a past, present, future thing. But then our questions had all kind of naturally aligned with that anyway. So it ended up working okay. So I'm in the present.
Okay.
We're
And I'm in
keeping
the
it in the present.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm right here with you. Mhm.
Okay. So since I'm the marketing person, I am going rapid fire style.
Mhm.
So the first one is, what's one thing almost everyone owns too much of?
One thing everyone owns too much of: food they won't make, clothes they won't wear, books they won't read, activities they'll never do, crafts they won't do. And I feel like it's our aspirational selves.
Mm-hmm.
We
Yeah.
all buy things thinking of our best intention. We just cleared out a man's book collection, and it's very clear that that book collection represented everything he ever knew or hoped to know.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's not just let's get rid of it, let's get rid of it. There's something that goes into honoring his intellect and his desire to know everything, and also to pause along the way to appreciate everything he knows
Mm-hmm.
that's represented in those books.
Yeah.
And but we kind of, you can see where someone's passion is, and you can see where someone's aspirational passion is pretty quick
Yep.
when you're in their
Yeah.
house.
I feel like Alicia can probably chime in on some of these too. What's the hardest item
What would
for?
you say? Go backward.
Oh,
That everyone owns too much of.
I would definitely say agree more with the food, especially
mm-hmm.
with the best intentions. Like everyone always has the best intentions of wanting to make meals and cook when you get home from work, but we all know how that goes when you're just not feeling it when
You're
you get home from
DoorDashing.
work. Yes, DoorDash or picking something up on the way home. That, or I would say, yeah, hanging on to the clothes that they either have like emotional attachment to and like, oh, maybe I'll potentially wear this at one point, or clothes that they're, oh, one day I'm going to fit into this or going to
Let
fit
me
into
talk
again.
about
The
home
aspirational
goods.
selves.
Let me
Yeah,
talk about
that's-
Home Goods,
that's intense.
TJ Maxx, Marshalls, which prior to becoming a professional organizer were some of my happy places. I still can get lost in those aisles. But man, oh man, do we see a lot of aspirational purchases from the aisles of Home Goods. And I would say I'd be interested in talking to a UK-based organizer, because tea is an actual real part of their culture. To me, in America, we lean toward coffee, but it does feel like everybody that we organize for thinks that they're going to be a tea person one day, and has about 20 to 30 boxes of aspirational tea.
Yeah.
And when you go to organize it, they want to keep it,
Mhm.
because one day they're going to be a tea person, myself included.
Aspirational tea is like a really good podcast name or something.
Aspirational tea.
Yeah, that is.
would be good.
Let's spill the aspirational tea.
Yes, I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, what's the hardest item for people to let go of?
Sometimes it's clothes that don't fit them
Mhm.
from a body that they think they might get back into. That can be hard, and we'll kind of put it in a box for a future go through. I would say that.
Yeah, I would say clothes or
Something that costs a lot of money,
Mhm.
and they're frustrated by the purchase, but they never use it.
Mhm.
I'm always very impressed by people who will recognize something they got as a wedding gift that they haven't used in 20 years, and they're just willing to let it go, because
Mhm.
they know that there was a lot of money attached to it, but they'll say, "I never use it." But I'm equally impressed by people who use the fancy pitcher on an everyday basis. I
Mhm.
think I like that more. Like, who cares if it was a $100 pitcher that somebody gave to you for the Thanksgiving and Christmas days that you host? You might not even host Thanksgiving and Christmas. Why not use it? And if you're just going to give it away, if it breaks, oh well. One day you clean it up. It probably isn't going to break. I like when people use their nice things.
Mhm.
Life, you only get one life. Use the nice things. Use the fancy
I
china.
agree. Yeah.
Use the fancy pitcher. And like, I fold my underwear, and my closet and a lot of my drawers are very aspirational drawers. I have parties, and I tell people, feel free to look through any drawer. And I launched this business, and I had a party. Alicia made cookies in the basement. And I said, the party theme was, I'll show you mine if you show me yours. Launching a home organizing business, I want to come in and organize your stuff. So it's only right for you to be able to see mine. And when I get dressed in the morning, the way that my closet is set up, I feel good every morning. I just got a really comfy rug in my closet, and I want to live in that closet. I want to stand and get ready for at least 10 minutes because I so enjoy having my feet on that rug. So I am all about the little luxuries in life that can help you feel good about yourself and about your home. And in moments of chaos all around you and the overwhelm of the day that's going to come if you step into the world or turn on the TV or talk to another human, those little places in your home, little spaces that we can make you feel good about yourself and feel and take a breath of fresh air and just feel a really plush rug on your feet. Now, I'm not buying rugs for clients, but I would if someone's like, I heard you have a really good rug. Can you get me one? I'd be like, on it. I will do what I can to make my clients' lives better. I really do like want to bring the best to the clients that we serve.
Mhm.
All right. What's one thing you never expected to organize so often?
I would say underwear drawers.
I almost thought underwear drawers. Yeah.
There's even a client that told us that every time she goes in her underwear drawer, she thinks of me because I organize them.
Mhm.
That's
How
wonderful.
could you not?
There's clients, and we've done so many now that I don't think about everybody every day, but I think about regularly how many people think about us every day
Mhm.
because we made such a different system. They're moving things around. We had Maddie on, a client that we just adore. We've been in her place
A few
so
times.
many times. And she says that they have a thing around their house. It's the Colleen scapegoat. If they can't find something, they go, Colleen, oh,
Oh.
Colleen. Yeah, and it's because they have me to be like, we can't find it. Oh, Colleen. It's like a loving thing. But it's just a running joke that they have because when we move things around and they were looking for it originally, they'd kind of like laugh at that.
Mhm.
But yeah, I think it's fun to think of how much we've touched in
Yeah.
so many people's homes. And I think that they want to keep it the way it looks when we
Mhm.
leave. And so to think that as they're there, they're like, okay, I can do this.
Mhm.
I can fold my underwear like Colleen does.
All right. What's
But
one?
Maddie says she never will. Maddie is like, that was a cute idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's one thing you wish everyone would stop buying?
More tea, all the impulse purchases. I wish that so I've talked about this before. Amazon, I watched a show on Amazon. It was a documentary and it had this conveyor belt. It had this animated it had this animation of a person lying in their bed ordering something, add to cart, and a conveyor belt came in the middle of the night and dropped the box at the bottom of the bed. And I thought that's not far from true. But seeing it in this animation made it look so ridiculous, and to think of everything that happened while that person was sleeping to get a pair of slippers, like something that was not important to come in the dark of the night, in the middle of the night, have some driver bring it to you by 5 to 7 a.m. It was like, it made me think, yeah, yeah, that's maybe not necessary. And then it talked about the Amazon add to cart and buy now buttons and how back when they first created the buy now button, they tested 9 different colors. And one of them was the marigold button. And they had so many people on Amazon that they could just do the testing themselves within people on the site and see which color made people buy now most. And the marigold that we see on Amazon now is the color that won. And when I thought about how manipulated I had been by that, and how research had gone into, the research that went into them tricking us in a way to like buy now, it made me be like, I can wait. I can wait, Amazon. I got you. I see you.
Just out of spite.
Yeah. And so I'm a big buy now, or no, sorry, I am not a big buy now. I'm a big add to cart and save it for a few days, come back to it, see if I really want it. I think that just what do I wish people didn't buy so much of is quick purchases
Mhm.
and custom things um, that are only there's such a cheap quality produced
Yeah.
that people aren't hanging on to things. You go into an older person's home, you might have holiday decor from decades and decades ago that have been put up and taken down every year for all those decades, and they still look probably just as good as they did in the 1950s. But you see some of the decor that comes out today, and it is designed to be thrown away. And so I do wish that people would be a little bit more mindful of the one-time consumptions, because then they'll hang on to the extra of something and they'll never use it, and it just becomes the backstock has gotten a little too aggressive.
Mhm. What are the hottest resale items you're seeing right now? Maybe Alicia can speak to that too. I know you guys do a lot of reselling.
Mm,
What's going well?
Kid stuff goes great on resale.
yeah.
Kid stuff, if you price it right, taking the right pictures for anything goes well. But yesterday we listed a few things, and Alicia was like, "No way for these pillows." And sure enough, I've had 8 offers, and someone's picking them up while we're here.
Good.
So, yep. And so there's a lot of things. It's kind of funny, like some things that you think won't sell quick, and some things that if I had 10 of, I could have sold. So yeah, it's all about pricing it right. But
Mhm.
I think things that people can use, seasonal. So if it's summer, the stuff for outside, lounge chairs and summer furniture and stuff that makes your space nice. If you're trying to sell that in winter, best of luck. It's really about that seasonal
Yeah.
element. Also, just doing something one at a time, instead of putting 20 things into a bundle.
Mm.
People don't necessarily want all your puzzles, they just want that one. So taking the listing and just making the one at a time.
Mm.
All right?
Yeah. Okay. What are your top 3 places to donate clothing in the Twin Cities?
I always go to Sharing and Caring Hands. They're downtown Minneapolis. From what I know, they serve 600 community members a night who don't have a home of their own currently. And so, for when you bring stuff to Sharing and Caring Hands, which is connected to Mary's place, it's going to go direct to a person. So I love there. I've recently been going to Prop Shop in Eden Prairie because they have a thrift store. They have and all the profit goes to their mission, and they have a food shelf and they have social services arm. So even with clothes, I think all the kids go direct to clothes, all the men's go direct to clothes. They only sell some of the women's clothes. I haven't done Dress for Success, but I'd like to do that too. When we donate clothes, if we don't help a client put together a box for a thread up for a potential, income earning from their clothes, we always try to bring clothes to a place that will go directly to a person to wear versus a purchase.
Okay.
We're pretty big about that as much as we can.
Yeah.
Do we have time for one more question?
Yeah, we'll make time.
Yeah. Okay. What's the one room that both of you think people struggle with the most?
Usually,
Or spot?
yeah, the things that are multi people,
Mhm.
and a lot of times there's different dynamics within a house where, maybe a parent feels more like they can set the system and make the kids stick to it. Sometimes you see a lot of lenient parents that don't demand their kids to tidy up or, follow a system. And so within that dynamic, wherever multiple people drop things or come and go from,
Mhm.
you're going to get the best and worst habits of everybody, and then you can feel the tension of that space. So I'm always saying, like, rooms in a house, they either play well together or fight. There's tension. So it's kind of like people and flow. And when people get along, you just feel easier. You feel a flow. When you're like, I don't really like this person. You feel, you kind of tense up. You can feel that in a home. Oh, this makes a lot of sense. Or this is conflicting. They're serving a different purpose. This one's supposed to do that for you, but then you're pushing it over here. But so sometimes that's where also hiring the outsiders, I call us an intervention, like an in home intervention. And I was talking to my business advisor last night. She's like, I don't know about that word intervention. And I'm like, oh, this is an intervention. Like, we are interventionists, and what we do, like, you hopefully will never need to do again. But part of what we bring is words around what we're seeing, and calling something out and asking a question to call something out so that people can see and put words to themselves what is not working. My best friend Mary has been on this show. She's 88 years old. Shout out to her. Love her so much. She just broke her wrist. I have to go visit. Poor thing. But love her so much. And she's taught me some very good phrases, like, let's not big deal this, and I love saying that because, especially from an 88-year-old, and she started being my best friend when she was my 82-year-old best friend. So she's been in my 30s and her 80s, we've been best friends. But you take it seriously when somebody tells you don't big deal it, like, you're going to get through it, like that thing I'm stressing about was 5 decades ago for her, like, get over it, Colleen, let's not big deal this, but in the kindest way. But just how many times do we overinflate things in our lives and we stress out about something? Let's not big deal this. Like, I host Christmas for my extended family, and the first couple of years I put together a beautiful Evite, and it was just lovely and all the things. This year it was like, email, here's the date, save it. I'm not going to big deal this. Like, you're either going to come or you're not. This is the day. See you there. It'll be lovely when you get there. But I don't need the Evite to remind you it's going to be lovely. It's not big deal this. Took me 20 minutes instead of 2 hours. And so but Mary also says it's important to hear your own thoughts. And so I think a lot of times when we're in our own homes, we don't necessarily have conversations about things that need to in order to be addressed. Admitting it is the first step, like being able to articulate what's happening and talk through. So I often view our role as shedding light, being able to call something out and say, what's happening over here? What who's responsible for this area, or what's going on over here? And so just being able to speak to it, which when somebody brings it up with their family might create tension, a fight, spouses are arguing about some things. And I've been in a situation where I'm like, I'm not a marriage therapist, but I'm going to fix this thing for you. Like, I totally understand why you can't solve it on your own, but it's just the lack of skills around spatial intelligence, and around you don't know the products that you need to rework this space. I'm going to fix that. But it's like tension comes and it gets put on the relationships within the home, but it's really just about the stuff, and it's about people not being able to know how to manage all this stuff. We have way too much stuff coming our way in life, way too much information, way too much expectations and demands on us. So I like to be, if it's like gonna pop and it's just, so full of pressure, like we can kind of come in and let some air out of a high pressure situation, and we can move things around and really make better order in a way that hopefully is very lasting, or something didn't work for some very specific reason, so we can come back and rework it. But I don't think we've gone back to someone's home because our solution didn't work. I think we speak things through so much with people that they really do get a very custom, personalized, specific solution that helps everybody, and then releases that tension and allows for the family, and if you live alone, for everything to just be a little easier.
Mhm.
Is that all?
No, there's a lot more, but I
Okay.
feel our segment is over. The
Oh, our
present. We got to
segment's
get out of the
over.
present.
Oh, oh goodness. Okay, well, we'll take a quick break and then we'll figure out where we're going from here. Welcome back to Sorting Through Life with Colleen Waterston on AM 950. We are here, brought to us by Space Organizing, and today we are a full team meeting. We've got myself, Alicia, my right hand at organizing jobs. We've got Tiffany, who makes us a brand and puts us out into the world with all of her work behind the scenes. And we have Cortney, our brand new gal on the team, who's going to help all this run better. And so here we are. We've gone past, present, and dun dun dun,
Now future.
future. All right, Alicia.
So obviously things have been getting busier for us and our team has been growing little by little. What kind of team are you wanting to put together going forward? And maybe not necessarily just for like space by space, but also like the legacy lifting aspect of things too. So are you wanting like different kind of team members for legacy lifting or space by space? Or what are your thoughts and ideas?
It's like you've been listening in on our meetings lately because
Surprise, we're always hiring.
yeah, we are. The first thing that came to me was empathetic. I
Mhm.
want to be the leader of the most empathetic group of people, largely women. We only have women on our team. I think that's probably going to be the norm.
Yeah.
But a- and for, I mean, we'll take a guy, but maybe not. It's whoever comes across our way that serves a good role for the job. But I think we'll always be hiring, and we've been talking about this as we've been figuring out how we're going to expand the team, because really the only way we can move faster and more efficiently is to have more hands, to be more, octopuses every day, octopi. I'll have to look into that. But it's just, many hands, lighter load. And I think that that's where the characteristics are empathy first. This is very non-judgmental. You can't come in and snicker or giggle at somebody, because we are being invited in for people's biggest insecurities. And so there has to be a sensitivity to that and an honor to be let in to somebody's biggest insecurities. And I take that as a responsibility to navigate our role um, with pragmatism and kindness, and good ideas for what to do, be creative, but always be centered around we're doing this for a person and for people. And so with our in-home interventions, like, that's a pretty fast and furious day.
Yeah.
There's heavy lifting, so you have to be able to move fast and do the up downs that we say, which is like the loads to the car. And sometimes it's a hot day and you still have to do those, and sometimes it's raining and sometimes it's freezing and you still got to do it. So people who are just able to kind of not be bothered by the weather, like rain or shine, we're going to do a good job. But also, good at space and good at organizing, good at creativity, good at stepping back and seeing something from a bigger picture and then going meticulous. But within that, I'd love to have people who are kind of the designated heavy lifters, the designated meticulous, the designated hold space for the whole job, the lead organizer who's really the client communicator. And then on the legacy lifting side, which we'll be launching a lot more in the future and in the fall, it's a slower pace.
Yeah.
So those clients, sometimes I've had to say to them, like, "Are you sure are we getting done what you wanted to? Like, does this feel like a good amount of work done?" Because it's
Well, do you want to say who legacy lifting serves?
legacy lifting serves our clients in the later years of life. So we say leave a legacy, not a burden. And legacy lifting is really designed for people from pre-retirement age, but thinking that retirement is coming on, and how can we start to work through your stuff so that when you are retired, you don't spend the first 5 years of retirement going through your stuff versus going on a vacation. So it's like, if you anticipate yourself wanting to be out of the house you're in, but all your kids' things are there, or you just have too much, and that will be a barrier to a future change. Hire us well before retirement, so that you can have the retirement that you want. But then that's also retired, and now we've finished a career, and now we can come back to our stuff differently than when we were in the career. Then it's okay, now I'm thinking about a senior living situation, but my house and my stuff is in the way of it. I don't want to bring it with me. Or, hey, I'm in a senior living situation. I downsized all my stuff, but there's not much order to it, or there's too much stuff. Or, the siblings in the sandwich generation who are looking ahead and thinking, you know, what am I going to do with all my mom's stuff? I'm taking care of my kids. I've got my own life. Like, there's so many things. So all of that, like, serving with more of an end in mind, whether it's the end of a home, the end of a life, So with that, there's an increased amount of empathy and patience and kindness, and um, perhaps some skills to actually connect with people on a different cognitive level. So yeah, but ultimately it's really fun. So the people, and we have been growing. It's been fun to feel the growth, the pace that we're moving at, the amount of things on my plate on a given day. And I just do my best, and then we wake up and do more tomorrow. I'm having a lot of fun with it. I don't really get excited, and I don't really get stressed. I've found a way to kind of maintain an equilibrium. So even with you, Cortney, coming on, I'm like, I'm excited for her, but then I'm like, I'm just looking forward to it, and I hope it goes well. But I'm not overly excited, because if it doesn't, that's okay too. But I know it will. But, it's just that I don't like to, overexert myself energetically, because I need my energy. And so I kind of keep it even. But that's where, like, I don't get stressed much either. And I used to get stressed.
Yeah.
There were ends of days I'm like, I need to do a breathing exercise before I can get through this. Like, what have I done to us? Oh my goodness, we have promised the world, and we're just two organizers trying to do our best for these people. And it's like,
It's the end of the day.
oh my gosh, a ridiculous amount of pressure for what we were doing. It's like, we're just trying to organize your kitchen drawers. But yeah, I like life from a more, chill, and it's really, really fun, to do what we do, and to be growing this team, and it's really fun to invite people to be part of something that you've built, and to see their reaction to it from a new perspective. We have a gal JC, who's gonna help manage the legacy lifting. And she's like, I want to do what you're doing, but I don't have that hustle that you have for this right now. She's doing different things in her life, and art, and things that are taking up her time. And she's like, but I love what you're doing, and showing her what we've built and the systems behind the scenes. And while we've been here recording this episode, Laura's been on a call with a consult, the intake call for someone that we're scheduling for next week. I went on a walk the other day with a friend, and I said, someone's working on the business right now. I don't know who. There might be two people doing things for the business right now. But while I'm on a leisure walk with you, my business is growing. Things are being done. And that was a really cool feeling, to know that I have people that share in the vision and the responsibility, and are moving it forward together.
Yeah. So actually kind of going with the legacy aspect of things, what kind of legacy are you hoping to leave with Space by Space?
Wow, Alicia.
That's a really
That's,
that's
that's a deep question.
Wow. But a beautiful one. And when you asked me questions before, a couple episodes ago, you got into some of the depth of my thought process, and some of my travels and life experiences, and how those show up in people's living rooms and kitchens and everything, because it's so much deeper. I want to help people live a good life, and to love themselves and the lives that they live. I want them to feel I want people to feel as unburdened to be themselves to the fullest, and to have homes, if we're lucky enough to have a home, and to have space to grow into for ourselves. I want our service to help people live in a home that really serves them in a unique and special way. So my goal is that anybody who we serve feels like they got support in life to live their best life, to identify what that, to be able to dream a little bit about what that might look like, and then for us to help them get a step closer to it. We have a half a minute. So, wow. But yeah, I hope that we can serve our clients in a way that everybody feels like they got a really good custom experience that has impact when we're there, and well beyond. And for now, I'm just grateful to be here and to be among you all, and here at AM 950. This is Sorting Through Life. Go to spacebyspaceorganizing.com and be in touch.